He was great for them. He's been great all season long. And Steven, is it too early to start thinking about Sixth Man of the Year?
This is a thought that I've had for about maybe 7 or 8 days now, but it was clearly way too soon.
Percolating.
He's literally gotten better since the moments I was thinking about it. I mean, they got to start counting from the beginning of the season, so that means it can't be too early to speak on him and being in that realm. That's like what he's doing is ridiculous. It's special. These are the things that, if you look at the championship winning teams, the Lakers winning it in the bubble, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You look at the Celtics, it's a different context, but Derek White. You look at the Nuggets winning it, and the multitude of role players, starting with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope again, that have won a championship in these last handful of years. It's somebody that's unsung, who's doing all of the less glamorous things, especially on the defensive end and on the glass, but just generally speaking to a team's process. This season, comprehensively, from start to now, has been Royce O'Neale. You talked about him being plus 14 in a game where they won it by 1 point. There were maybe 2 other games where he had a double-digit plus or minus, and they won by single digits. These things aren't by accident. The numbers can tell lies sometimes, but when you contextualize them is when you make them make sense. They've literally been at their best when he's been on the floor across multiple lineup iterations, but especially when it's the 4 starters and him on the floor in place of Tyus Jones. That's been their best lineup by far this season. And again, this is not by happenstance. You have a player that understands what to do, when to do it, and how to do it to complement, but also how to execute off of the things that everybody else creates for him. This is how you get yourself in this situation.
And can we call attention to the fact that, like, yes, he's been shooting the ball at a career high clip from 3-point range so far in the season, but it does feel like with the way that he changed his diet this season, he came into this year, and to my eye at least, with a little bit more explosion, a little bit more quickness. And last year we would kind of joke that, like, if he's not shooting a 3 from inside the arc, it kind of gets a little bit rougher for him, especially around the basket. He had that one take off the dribble today where he went one-on-one and basically crossed between his legs and went to the basket and got the and one layup. And it was a big momentum play for the Suns at that point in the game. And I was just like, there was not a time at all last year where Royce O'Neale was doing that. So for him to be still kind of building on his game in these very low-key ways at this point in his career is really impressive. And it speaks to his level of comfort now that he's, he came mid-season last year. Now that he's had a full off-season training camp and start to the season to gel with these guys, he is really making a difference coming off the bench.
Yeah, you got to give him a lot of credit for what he's been able to do this season so far with the Suns. And I also wonder if you owe Coach Bud a little bit of credit for that as well, in terms of we've just seen Coach Bud get the best out of every guy on this team, it feels like, from top to bottom. I don't see why Royce O'Neale would be any different. The confidence that he's probably instilling in him, the fact that his teammates are always hyping him up during the games when he does something big or makes the right play. Like, Royce O'Neale is the quintessential Suns fan favorite, I think. He's like the guy who does the dirty work, and we love those type of players on our team. So I'm really happy for Royce O'Neale.
We all silly like the mayor.